is James Baracci. I live at 329 Jersey Avenue.
And
This
I'm
Peggy
Peggy
Simone,
Simone.
lives at 321.
Jersey Avenue.
We're here for one reason only, and it's this. It's been an eyesore since November 6th, and all we want to know is, when is this thing going to be torn down and cleaned up? Because it's embarrassing to look at it every day.
It's also a dangerous situation. It's a half-demolished structure, which with any storm coming in, every day, debris from there is strewn all over everybody's property, insulation from the roofing. It comes down little by little, every day.
This is what it looked like before the winds came in a couple weeks ago. And this wasn't my concern, and they put up the safeguards by one of the, it looks like now, as it came down. Luckily, when I talked with one of the gentlemen who was there from the zoning, he made me put the supports up, because I was concerned that it would fall down on my house. And it did collapse.
We can't use our driveways to park, in danger of the whole thing collapsing over onto the sides. On November 6th, when it started, I happened to be home, and a neighbor ran to my door and said, call the police right away and JCP&L, because the wires to the poles of the transformer were torquing, because the roof on that property started to collapse and it was pulling all the roofing. So needless to say, we've had at least 5 or more calls to the police. Officer Eskridge was very helpful, and he was acting as a contact person should anyone go on the property that wasn't supposed to be there.
It's supposed to be taken down next week.
Yeah, so there were signs put up, no trespassing. There were, I called the health department, and Teresa was very kind. She came immediately, because I thought maybe some of these houses have asbestos under the vinyl siding, and there was all kinds of stuff going all over the place.
So I'm sorry, I apologize. Where is this?
325 Jersey Avenue.
Chelsea?
Jersey.
Oh, Jersey Avenue.
Between
In Oberon.
Woodgate and Van Court.
And who have you, when did this,
It started
It
on
started
November
November
7th.
6th.
6th, okay.
and what is the most recent picture? The first one you showed?
The very first ones have the big blow-ups. That's what it looks like now. It's got the 2 huge bins still sitting in the front
So
yard.
your first call was to who?
Actually, we called the police because when he was tearing it down, the electric was still alive on the house, and so was the natural gas. And he was not supposed to take it down with a claw. He was supposed to manually remove
And
it.
did you reach out to anybody else
Yeah,
besides?
we did.
Yeah.
I reached out to
Mr. Graviano.
the health department, Mr. Graviano, your office, and I think Tara or something put a message and you were in a meeting, and you deflected it over to Mr. Graviano, who called me, and these were the answer, a couple of the answers that I got, and we're just asking for
Unclean
truth.
that's all.
It says, we called code enforcement at Graviano and resulted in the following answers. This is over the month of November into now, or into 2 weeks ago. The owner had many fines, the owner had completed the correct paperwork. The owner was going to only be able to retain the foundation. The city of Long Branch needed to, quote, have a paper trail that anyone could follow from a legal perspective. It has nothing to do, we're not interested in that. We just want to safeguard our properties, not have this garbage and all this stuff blowing around. It's unsafe. That one day there were little kids waiting for the school bus. They were going on the front of the property. I had called Officer Eskridge. They came and they put one little strip of police yellow tape around. That's all that's there. It's not blocked off with chain link or anything else like some of the properties are when they're doing a big construction project. So what we just want to know is the city now holding up the homeowner from completing the demolition, or is there something else? And what can we look at a month? Are we looking at 2 years of looking at this until it finally just disintegrates into a little pile? Because it's been almost 2 months now.
So I'm going to ask George to say a few words, but before that, let me just say that, you know, on Thursday morning, we will find out for you what the
Okay.
status was.
Thank you.
I mean, on one hand, I'm glad that when you called at least my office, that they referred Nick to you.
Yeah,
But I'm being honest with you, I wasn't aware of this, so I don't know, George, what do you think?
we did receive a letter. I'm sorry, let me just pass this down to you. The homeowner sent us this. So I didn't know whether the town required him to do that, but it doesn't really tell us too much. But we got that, we all got that in the mail on the block.
You know, if you don't, why don't we do this, since we have this 5-minute thing. Can you stay after the meeting?
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll work it out and
Okay.
address it immediately.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Yeah,
for coming. Thanks for
you know, our
coming.
intention here is not to raise hell with this guy.
No,
All we
no.
want is a, look, I understand you buy and flip houses, fine. I have no objection to you doing that, but, you know, how long is this gonna sit like this before he does something?
If I can just give you one little piece of the history of this. Your brother is Joe?
Yes.
Joe, I know Joe, I've known him for many years. He reached out to me some time ago. And what initially occurred, because you received a letter from the property owner. He talked about the fact that Long Ranch didn't.
Oh, he was
Why?
trying, yeah, I know, he was explaining
didn't-
long range.
I saw the letter.
You saw the letter?
Yeah, I saw it, I got it sent to me. And Long Ranch supposedly didn't require permits for the demo.
That he was gonna do
Right.
initially.
And when I spoke to our construction code official, Stan Minos, he confirmed that because the original application was for construction.
Right,
And what happened is, the property owner went, and it was a do-it-yourself project.
absolutely.
This is beyond the average person to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
He went in with a machine, he started doing some demolition work that was beyond the scope of the permits.
Right, correct.
The utilities were still connected. So that led to a shutdown of the job because he had overstepped.
Right,
Right.
he could have blown up the neighborhood.
Yeah, but I thought that letter was disingenuous because how could we authorize someone to, this was my reaction, how would our building department authorize a demolition without the required disconnects? We didn't authorize a demolition.
Right.
He was supposed to leave most of the structure intact to maintain the footprint and do renovations. So this thing spiraled out of control. We've been out there, it was only about a week ago, I spoke to Mr. Graviano. I think you would reach back out to the office. He told me he was out there on the scene and giving direction as to how this gentleman has to proceed. So I don't know exactly what stage they're at.
Yeah.
They were setting up disconnects, I believe.
The disconnects happened.
Everything's been done.
Yeah.
Okay, the utility disconnects have occurred.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah,
Thank God.
So I'll have to check with Nick to find out where we are with the permit stage, because I'm thinking this probably did transform into a demolition now, because of the disconnect.
yeah, well, that's what Nick's office said, that
Right.
they were only, at this point, it's so much pulled down that he can only keep the foundation.
Right.
But my question is this, is it something more that he needs to satisfy with the town, or is it the permit process that is now like kind of mired down? You know, which?
So I'll have to find out
Okay.
exactly where we are between demo versus building permit.
Right,
That we'll have to find out with our building department.
and there are two 16-foot dumpsters
Right.
right there as well, that have just been sitting there. With the
Okay. Well, one thing I have to caution you on, because I've had this experience before, is when people are issued building permits, there's no 2-week limitation or expiration. Building permit projects can go on, for lack of a better term, for an eternity. They can drag and drag as long as that person does some work. But of course, if there are hazards with debris that are blowing around, then we can take action also to help motivate this property owner,
Right.
pardon me, to get this thing done.
Yeah.
But I know I've.
Yeah, you've seen the picture where the second section just fell off during those heavy winds.
Yep.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, if you could stay a little later, let's talk a little further about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.